Hey, everybody. Welcome. Usually you're going to think I say this at the beginning of every show, but sometimes I forget to get my last little sip of something in before the live stream starts. So there we go. For the record, that is carbonated water. It's uninteresting lime seltzer water, non-alcoholic. And that goes out just real quick. I don't usually do this, but this goes out to the guy on YouTube that left a comment this week that said, "Is it just me or is this guy always hammered?" For the record, I almost never drink. Rarely do I drink, especially on live stream. So, anyways, maybe somebody's just happy sometimes, guy, and they enjoyed themselves. But we're turning the page on this because, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 56 of the Adam Makes Beer Industry Pro podcast. Today, I'm excited to be chatting with Gabrielle Lannes Maurey. Before we get rolling, let me give a shout out to our fantastic sponsors that make content like this possible. Starting a brewery is a big step. Blickman Engineering is here to help. Since 2006, they've equipped hundreds of nano breweries for success. Their new 3.5 barrel Pro Surface electric brewing system cuts maintenance and saves at least 30 minutes per brew day with powerful under kettle heating. From 1 to 15 barrel brew houses to keg washers and grain mills, Blickman has what you need. Ready to go pro? Contact Phil or Tom at ProSeries at blickmanengineering.com. Blickman Engineering is a proud sponsor of this channel and loves to help brewers at every stage of their journey. Tracking and managing the financial health of your brewery is a primary pillar of success. Check out my boy David Lentz at Brewed Fiscally. This man has the industry experience and skills you need so you can focus on growing your business. Bookkeeping, fractional CFO support, financial management system design, business plan review, hit up your boy. Check him out at brewedfiscally.com or shoot him an email at david@brewedfiscally.com. He's good people. Today, I'm chatting with Gabrielle Lannes Maurey. She is head brewer at Cervejaria Dogma in Sao Paulo, Brazil. She is a chemical engineering graduate from Universidade de Vassouras and a master's graduate from USP. Gabrielle's academic focus has been on brewing process and quality with a special emphasis on microbiological health. Gabrielle, how are you doing today?
Hey Adam, good evening. Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great. What about you?
Everything's going well. I'm excited. The chat is full of people that love you. A whole bunch of people shouting you out and putting up some full pints of beer in there. So that's good to see. So it's interesting. I ran across you on Instagram, saw that you were brewing at Dogma. And then I think maybe I saw also you on LinkedIn, and I saw some of your educational background. And so we started chatting a little bit, and that's ultimately what ended up leading to this interview. So why don't you tell me about your path into the industry? I know we had mentioned some of the university work that you did after school. Was that always a focus? Did you always want to get in on the beer side of things for a career?
Well, actually, yes. It all started with my parents. They're watching me now, so beijo mãe, beijo pai. and yeah, it all started pretty soon in my life. I was 13, about 13.
Okay.
And me and my dad, we watched a lot of the English Championship, and the Heineken always sponsored it. So for a final of UEFA Champions League, I wanted Heineken to just watch the game with my father and stuff. And then he got me one, and I have this little can to this day.
Oh,
So
that's
it kind
cool.
of united everything there. And the beer was always part of some happy moments in my life, not in an alcoholic way,
Sure.
but in a very good way, you know. I
Yeah.
remember this time my mom bought me a six pack of Heineken, and she left there and she left me at home. She went working, and I just got it World of Warcraft expansion. So I played and drank and listened to folk metal all the afternoon long, and it was like literally one of the best days of my life. She came home. I was a little bit dizzy, just a little bit. She looked at me like, "Have you been drinking?" I was like, "Nope," but everything worked fine. And the way I came to work with beer was through the chemistry. So
Mm,
I tried to do technical course before getting to college,
hmm
but it didn't actually work out because I got right in the way to do the chemical engineer
hmm
in the university.
hmm
So it's
Was
very
chemistry always something that came easily to you? Or was it a challenge? For me personally, the chemistry side of things is I feel like it's the most difficult. Like I can figure out how to use things,
um,
and I can do things that are practical, but rarely do I always understand what's actually going on chemically. Is the chemical side of things, did that come naturally to you?
well, yes. I use it to teach
Mhm,
chemistry and
mhm,
physics. I used to help people with that.
sure.
So, Vassouras, which is a town in Rio de Janeiro, it's a really strong city when we talk about beer, because we had a really strong course of beer and stuff there, which were canceled because it was way too expensive. So my college kind of embraced it, you know. So
Mhm,
now we are specialist beer specialists there. And I went into Universidade de São Paulo
mhm,
to kind of to do my master's degree, to really get into the like the yeast health, like with the whole the chemistry
mhm,
of the beer. And I'm really passionate about it because it kind of connects my fantasy world with the
mhm,
reality, because
mhm.
unfortunately I'm a big nerd. So I really like RPGs. I really like Lord of the Rings.
Uh-huh,
So the beer was kind of always there, you know. So
uh-huh,
I brought all the side of the fantasy to my real world, and I just love it. I love the creation. I love how minutious and detailed it can be,
sure.
and uh, just adding little flowers in a brewer
Uh-huh,
and the fermented wort. It sounds like magic to me. So I'm really
sure.
happy where I am now.
Absolutely. So was how old were you when you first started getting into Lord of the Rings?
Oh, Jesus Christ. 15, maybe?
15? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
What about
yeah.
you? Because everyone's into Lord of the Rings, just a little bit, but
Oh, well,
everyone's
Lord of the
into.
Rings is I mean, Lord of the Rings is great. It's one of the like for me, it's one of so I love a great story. It doesn't matter whether it's like in the fantasy realm or if it's like a murder mystery. I just love a great story, and to me, a great story always has something. It has things that are true to it, right? Like, okay, I may have never had like a ring of power, right, that I need to take to Mordor to destroy, right? But we can understand the things like we've experienced when people take advantage of power, right?
Yes.
even in small things, right? So that's one of the things that I love about things that are just great stories. And Lord of the Rings is really one of those. You can read that story and enjoy it, watch the movies, enjoy it just from an entertainment standpoint,
Uh-huh.
but also it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and I do love the crossover there with how the hobbits like their pints of ale and things like that. You know what I mean? Because it can be kind of I don't know, it can be kind of a nice nostalgic, warm, comfortable, like cultural thing, you know?
Yes.
So yeah, I do like that. So yeah, I think I read those after. I think I probably watched a version of the Hobbit movie, like some terrible animated movie when I was a little kid. But then I think I read them after college.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, yeah. So that's interesting for me. So you ended up getting into the beer side of things, and specifically into kind of the yeast health stuff. What is it about? Is it just that it's kind of the chemistry side of it? Are you also somebody that really enjoys like water profiles and water chemistry as well, or is it mostly on the microbiological side?
I go most of the microbiological side because here in Brazil we get most of our supplies from outside, from America, from Europe. So everything is way too expensive.
Hmm.
So if a brewery can take good care of its yeast, we can really save lots of money. So people here lacks a lot of professionals on their part,
Hmm.
to like to do the microbiological, to actually sustain a yeast strain,
Hmm.
because it's painful to watch. You put a whole pack of yeast inside your tank just to throw it out in the
Yeah.
next bath. That this makes no sense. So I got into this part because I realized by the experience that I was having, trying to work, trying to connect with another breweries here, that this is actually a big issue.
Mm. Hmm.
Here in Brazil, we can't afford actually a good lab at the breweries too.
Hmm.
Just because of the price of it, some people actually have another priorities like trying to bring a new hope, trying to bring a new style, and they
Hmm.
which leads kind a little bit to some kind of bad management,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
you're raising your pattern so high that
Hmm.
you're not even sure that it's gonna sell, if it's gonna last or something, which
Oh, go ahead and try to jump back in if you can. Let me see. I'm going to shoot her a message real quick. Oh, I got you. I got you. There you are. I got you. I was actually just sending you a message on Instagram because
I'm
it
so
just like
sorry.
boop and oh, you. It's fine. It's fine.
My grandma just called me. Minha avó me ligou.
That's all right. That's all right. Um.
So yeah.
Yes. Keep going. Keep going.
So I think there is a bad management here
Mm,
when you're talking about money, because there are some breweries that are focusing like bringing the best malt, the best barley, the best hops, the best yeast and stuff, but you actually don't have any. how any equipment and management to check the beer quality, you know, like in its details, in its really inside the beer. So I think that it's kind of a fail here, you know. I think it's
Sure.
like where we see the most.
So as far as yeast goes, because you did mention people people sourced from outside the country as well. So are most people importing yeast? Are we talking about liquid or dry yeast? Are you getting them from within the country? How are most people handling that, and how are you handling it at Dogma?
Yeah, the yeast strain comes from outside, but we have some labs here that can actually take good care of it, so they
Mm,
proliferate it and they can sell it to us. Dogma has a producer that kind of made us in the partnership 19 different yeast strains,
hmm
so we have a good varieties and it's exclusive for Dogma. But sometimes we use like West Coast yeast too. We use US 05 too. It's a very simple strain of yeast.
hmm
Sometimes you get it like dry, sometimes you get it liquid. Most of the time we get it liquid.
hmm hmm
But it's not like mandatory, you know. It depends more of the style of beer we are brewing than a preference,
Well, and
basically.
you're making a lot of different styles of beer. I was actually really surprised when I dug into all the beer, even just going into cans, or at least it shows cans on the website. There's a lot of different styles going into cans. First of all, the branding, the labels, everything. It's very sharp. It looks great. You know you're looking at a Dogma can when you know what
Yes.
I mean. There's continuity there, which is great. Yeah. So the stuff looks great. And so I was very interested to see the number of styles that you have, because you have everything from New England style IPA, West Coast IPA. You have Hefeweizens, Belgians, Sticke Alt lagers, fruited sours. You do a lot of stuff. That's really something.
Thank you. That's because our public really embraces the branding.
Mhm,
So we have this kind of freedom to do whatever we feel like. Bruno is the lead brewer. He's
mhm,
one of the owners of Dogma.
mhm,
So he's the one creating the recipes and stuff. And he's absolutely great in what he does. So we are IPA specialists.
mhm,
Our public actually likes most of the EPAs. This one is our uh, it's our favorite,
mhm.
and it's our the public favorite too. But yeah, we try to have something for every kind of public, you know, because there are some people that actually don't like IPAs, but they really like
Right.
Dogma. So we have
Yeah.
to do something for those people too. Like
Sure.
our sours, we do a lot of different sours. The last one we did was one of coconut and passion fruit, which was absolutely spectacular.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
really loved it. And that's basically it. We try to bring some old styles from the old school
Mm-hmm.
to,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
to make
And do
things a
people
little bit
do
interesting.
so? That's really interesting to me. So, as far as having never been to Brazil, what is the craft beer scene like there? Because on the outside looking in, I mean, you're canning tons of different hazy IPAs. You have you have a lot of different things going on. So in my mind, like I would expect to see that menu like anywhere here. Well, there's even places here in the US that would not have the range, the stylistic range that you have going on.
Mm.
So is that typical in your area, or do you feel as if that's something that makes Dogma a little bit different?
Both. It's pretty different because we're here in São Paulo. São Paulo is one of the biggest towns in Brazil. Of course, we have like millions and millions of people here. So they kind of embrace us a little bit easier than the other states actually do. I come from Rio de Janeiro. I live in São
Okay.
Paulo, and in Rio de Janeiro is very hot. It's very it's like a beachy place, you know. We have lots
Okay.
of beaches, we have a lot of waterfall. So people actually don't want a heavy
Mm.
IPA. They don't want to drink like a triple IPA or something. They want a lager and they're happy with that, you know.
Yeah.
So it goes a little bit to state from state, but the majority it's all lager. You know, the craft beer here in Brazil has its space, but it's not as big as it should be, as it could be,
Mm-hmm.
because of bad management
Mm-hmm.
and because sometimes this is way too expensive because one can of Dogma can cost like 14 reais, which is like about, oh, in dollars, like $5 or something. I don't know.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
But you can buy a whole package with 40 reais here, you know?
Mm.
So are you buying a one can or 12 of it? You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes the majority doesn't like to spend their money in quality and in experience. They prefer
Sure.
to get refreshed and sometimes drunk, yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I also feel like, there's there's a time for almost any beer. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Sometimes, when it's very, very hot outside, that really, really light adjunct lager, that corn or rice lager, get it really cold when it's really hot and it works. You know what I mean? But there's kind of different seasons and different occasions for different beers, right? So
Yes.
so that makes a lot of sense to me. So um yeah, so yeah, I was surprised when I saw kind of the range of what you do. So, for you personally, what are the beers that you're most passionate about making? Is there like is it the IPAs? Is it the fruited sours? Is it the lagers? The historical stuff? What is the stuff that you personally love to make?
Um, I actually fell in love with Dogma because they explore lots of the same stuff that I believe in,
Mhm.
which is I love to work with extreme beers. I love to work with heavy hopped beers, with alcoholic beers because they are not like a white sheet like lagers, like I don't know, like sours. You know,
Mhm.
they already have something going on. They already have like a personality,
Mhm.
and they accept more. You can make it way more complex. You know,
Mm.
which make everything funnier and everything like nicer to work with
Sure.
because you can add like I have a new hazy IPA that we added like 20 kilos of hope
Okay.
and 25 kilos of coconut. You
Oh
know, the
wow.
same beer, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it got like really, really interesting. So this is what I like, you know, like this complex beer because they
Mhm.
already have something going on, and you can add more. They handle it, they accept it like really
Mhm.
well,
Mhm.
and I absolutely love hazy IPAs. We call IPAs here IPA. We don't
Okay.
say IPAs, we say IPA.
Okay, well, so you
So
can say IPA, say IPA, whatever you used to say. I
yeah.
don't feel like you have to say it any other way.
I really like them because I feel like their body are really soft and it's like moldable. You know, you can
Mm,
play with it, and the
hmm.
beer just flows with you. It's very
Sure.
nice.
Sure. So when you are making hazy IPAs, New England style IPAs, um, so talking about the grist or the malts that you use in the beer, what does that look like? So um, for me, like when I was building a beer like that, as far as the grain would go, I would usually have like 20 or 25% like wheat or oats.
Hmm.
Okay, so like you know like a malted wheat and then some flaked oats and then like base malt, something like that. What does the malt bill kind of look like? Are you utilizing wheat? Are you utilizing oats?
But there are beers we can use both,
Mm-hmm.
but we mostly use oats. We love using oats.
Mm-hmm. Flaked
And
oats, like flaked
yeah,
oats.
yeah.
Okay.
Uh, which I think absolutely great because I love how oat can contribute to the beer. You know how soft it left in beer,
Mm.
with the body of it. You know, you can bring like a little more of alcohol, but it doesn't like really get you hangover over
Mm-hmm.
it. If you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I really like to work with oats. The New England IPA that I made myself, like I made the recipe and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I use it like uh, around half of my barley
Oh
body
yeah, yeah, yeah.
was all oat. You know, it
Yeah,
was
that's a lot.
yeah, it
How
came
did
out
the
pretty nice.
okay, so let's talk about your brew house. So do you have a mash tun, a separate lauter tun, and then a kettle, or is it a mash lauter? Is it all one vessel?
No, we have three vessels. Three
Okay, so
vessels. Three vessels.
you're mashing in one, and then you're transferring the mash into the lauter ton.
Yeah.
Okay, so your mash tun doesn't care if it has all those oats in it, but when you get 50% oats over to the lauter ton, how does your lauter ton handle that well, or does it get sticky and slow?
Well, no, because enzymes, lots of
Yeah,
enzymes.
yeah.
So technology, you
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, yeah,
basically it. It's not like hard to brew at our vessels
yeah. Hmm.
because we use a lot of this.
It's like a beta glucanase.
Yes, yes, but we use other stuff too to
Mm,
make the beer like last longer, to make the brewing easier, to
hmm.
help me in my cider, you know. So we have a little products in it. It's not nothing like invasive that can actually corrupt something in the chemistry
Sure,
of the beer. It's
sure.
nothing like that. It's like really light stuff, but we have to guarantee that my beer will go out here from São Paulo to get, I don't know, like in Amazonas, which is a really far away
Hmm.
state from here,
Hmm.
and I have to guarantee you that's the same beer that I'm having here.
Sure,
If we export it to Europe, to America or something, it has to be the same. So we
sure.
use lots of this little chemical products to
Hmm.
help us to guarantee that because we don't pasteurize the beer.
Sure.
We
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah. So what do you have? So now I'm thinking about all sorts of different things. So you obviously have a canning line. Do you so here sometimes breweries will have their own canning lines, and then there's also mobile canning lines where like
Mhm.
people will like drive up. Do you have your own, or do you have like a mobile canning line that comes in?
Dogma's canning line is the best canning line I ever saw. It's like a dream. Like seriously, I never saw a candy line like with zero issues, zero issues. I mean, of course,
What's the
there's
manufacturer?
It's AB. It's from America.
Okay. Oh, so ABE. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, yep, yep.
They're like a dream. Like seriously.
All right.
Seriously.
Well, I'll have to get them as a sponsor on the show after they hear this. So they.
Yeah.
So, what do you love about working with that line?
Because it works.
Yeah.
It just flows. It works,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes. That's a great reason to like working with it. It is. Well, because like I mean, I don't know if everybody is a brewer right now that's listening, but it's not always a given that the canning line is going to work. Like so I make like well hopefully funny. I try to make like one brewing related meme a day and put it online, and it's so easy to make memes about the canning line because it's something's always going wrong. You know, there can be any number of issues with it. So that's really fantastic. So you love the ABE canning line. I mean, typically people have a lot of problems with like the seamer or like when you're dropping the lid on top of the can. All that stuff works well for you with that.
Yes, it actually does. I mean, of course, there are the times we have to fix something in here, something there, but completely normal. It's equipment. It
Sure.
has to pass through it. But yeah, it works perfectly because I have worked with some breweries that had canning lines made here in Brazil, and they didn't work as well as they supposed to be, you know. So
Sure.
I've seen like people really losing their minds over a candy line, like just go get the fuck out of here, you know. Oh my god. But
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
I like.
yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. So, do you have, because you were talking about like shipping it out, do you have like a like do you pierce your cans and do dissolved oxygen on them? Do you have like a dissolved oxygen meter?
Oh yeah, we do, but not in the canning line
Mhm.
as per se. I use it in the cellar, and in the canning line we have the ozone. You know, we
Okay.
put a little bit of ozone
Yep.
there in
Yep.
the can, so it's all like purified, and
Sure.
then we follow with the filling.
Sure, sure. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, let me jump back. I got a little a little off the rails here. Um, we had talked before about the fact that you use an Oculize cell counter. That
Yes.
is cool because I looked at their website and it's a cool little device. It looks like there's two different it looks like they have two different ones. One that you can like you can put it on like the uh like the slip, the piece of glass, and then you can like count it right there, or there's a something that you can uh put into a microscope.
Uh-huh.
There's two different ones. Which one do you
Yes.
have?
I have the little device with the chamber, the glass chamber in it.
Yes.
So it basically do all the work. You know, I have just to check it if it's all correct and stuff. But Equalizer, it's heaven. It's absolutely heaven, because there are times that I have to analyze like three or four different kind of yeasts,
Hmm.
and then with Equalizer I can do that like within 40 minutes or something.
Okay.
So basically, it's like it's nothing more much different when you analyze it with a microscope. I take like 9 millimeters of the worth, like word pure worth, so gamma cells in it,
Hmm.
and I got 1 ml of the yeast that I want to
Yes.
analyze, right,
Yeah.
straight off the thing, and then I mix it. So I take 1 ml of this mix and mix again with 90 ml of distilled water. Then I take 1 ml of this mix and 1 ml of Michelin Violet, and then
Hmm.
put it all together, and then I put it on the chamber. So Vocalize analyze to me how many cells there are, how many dead cells, how many living cells. There are some options that you can actually count if there are some new cells coming up and stuff. So you kind of take like little pictures of it. You can choose how many
Mhm.
pictures you take. I take five, and that's pretty good.
Mhm.
So he shows you all the pictures, so you can see if he counted it right, if he
Mhm.
actually say that the dead cells are really dead or the living cells are really alive. Um, you have to pay attention a little bit in how many cells there are per picture, so you
Mhm.
can actually know how the yeast is going, the
Okay.
health of it.
So when you say that, do you mean that you have to make sure that it's diluted enough so you can clearly see the number of cells? Is that what
Oh,
you mean?
delusion is very important, but I'm talking
Yeah.
about after that, when
Okay.
I already put it in the chamber, in the glass chamber,
Mhm.
and then I take the pictures in it. You can plug the little microscope of vocalizer with a
Mhm.
little chamber in it. You plug it in your computer. So there is this system of vocalizer, and
Mhm.
then we take five pictures of the yeast inside the chamber,
Mhm.
and I have to check if everything is counted correctly, how
Mhm.
many cells there are per picture and stuff. And he gives me the ability, and everything I want to know, how much of yeast I'll use to my next bath and stuff. He
Sure.
makes all the calculations, and it's really really trustable because I never had any problem like relying on it. So it's really really good.
That's really interesting. What I'll do is I will take I found a short YouTube video from them, and I'll put that in the description of this when I post it, because it is an interesting little tool, and especially for folks that I don't know. It seems like the ease of use is something that's really terrific about it, because like you said, you're really just doing your dilutions, and then you're taking the pictures with it. It goes through the app and the computer, and then very very quickly they get you the full run, the full readout. Correct? It's not
Uh-huh.
like a long time to wait, is it?
No, it's not. It's really not.
That's
Um,
interesting.
and Localizer offers their service for breweries, for winemakers, and for bioethanol. It's pretty cool
Hmm.
too.
That's cool. So let me ask you a question, because you kind of really have a passion for, or really focus on the kind of yeast microbiological side. Um, let's talk a little bit about how you like to handle your yeast. So I've interviewed a couple people. Well, actually, not a couple people. I interviewed Richard Priest from Escarpment Labs, and he's from Canada. And we were talking about, managing yeast health and things like that. What do you do as far as yeast nutrient for your yeast strains? Is there a hot side kettle addition? Do you do any nutrient additions on the cold side? How do you handle yeast nutrient with yeast?
So all my nutrients are added in the hot side of
Hmm.
the process. I use like this mix of nutrients. It has a little bit of zinc. It has like a dried yeast, like
Hmm.
something, and oxygenation. Sorry.
Oxygenation. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. No, you're good. You're good.
It's very very important because since we increased it during the transfer of the worth, my yeast profile like has gotten a lot better. So
Mm,
this is a point that I always try to work with. because it really has helped me. I can take like till the third generation with I don't know 80% of viability. So it's a
Hmm.
lot. It's like a lot for
For sure.
yeah for a third generation of the yeast. It's pretty impressive.
For
I think
sure.
so.
So do you have like a flow rate regulator on your oxygen so you can set like different oxygen flow rates and things like that?
Yes, yes, we do. Uh, it depends a lot. I mean, when it's fresh, dry yeast, I like
Hmm.
to let it at, like at 9, you
Hmm.
know.
Hmm.
If it's like a real dense beer, I tend to let it high too.
Hmm.
But if like I'm the third generation of the yeast, like this is the last batch that I'm using, this I tend to like lead it at 7, 8
Sure.
at its best, you know, because
Sure.
it makes no sense like to expand that much in
Sure.
the instead I'm not gonna use it but last
Sure.
so
Sure. So do you one of the things that I found interesting is going kind of working with different breweries and working at different breweries. I've seen that people will sometimes use different levels of oxygen with different yeast strains because it gives them a particular profile. So, for instance, I think more yeast labs right now are telling people the specific or a specific oxygenation range for different yeast strains because different not every strain requires the same level of oxygen. You
which
know what
makes
I
total
mean?
sense. Yes.
Sure. So do you ever have you ever played with giving a yeast strain more oxygen or less oxygen, thinking about the way you will get it to perform as far as flavors and aromas or anything like that? Have you ever done anything like that where you've taken the oxygen up sometimes and then down another to see what you can make the yeast do?
Well, not that much actually, to be honest,
Hmm.
because we have been working with only two different strains of yeast, you
Okay.
know, so there is no really any difference, you know, you can
Sure.
really
Sure.
tell if there is like a different profile in it. There's this West Coast and there's this more neutral profile, you know, so I don't think that would be actually really nice to do there, but I don't think that's actually necessary. I focus more
Sure.
on the results that I'm getting from localizer. You know, the how
Sure.
healthy my yeast
Yeah. Yeah.
is,
Yep.
then
Yep.
which profile it will bring me. You know, so because
Hmm.
I like I told you, I use it to the third generation, which is
Hmm.
like give me like 4 batches.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I prefer
Definitely.
to keep it going than
Sure.
adjusting profiles.
Do you ever manipulate pitching rates? So do you ever pitch and not just I'm assuming that you would probably pitch more cells for lager sometimes, people talk about that. But do you ever manipulate pitching rate, like higher pitching rate or lower pitching rate with different ales or lagers?
Yes, yes, I do. It depends a lot of the viability of the yeast, of course,
Hmm. Hmm.
but it depends a lot. I'm sorry. It
Very good.
depends a lot of the beer density, you know. If
Hmm.
it's like a real dense beer, I will have to use more.
Sure.
There was this Russian Imperial Stout that we did. It was like it was like really, really, really dense, like 1,000 and I don't know. It was like real, real dense,
Sure.
and we used it like 15 kilos of yeast. Like it was
Yeah.
a whole lot of it.
Yeah.
But it fermented like in 3, 4 days, and
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
was perfect fine. The
For
beer is
sure.
delicious.
What yeast strain did you use for that?
It was that BRY97. Do you know that?
I don't know that one. No. Is it is
Yes,
it
it's
is
like,
it is it like kind of like a clean ale strain, or does it have like a little bit more character?
yeah, it's very, very clean, because I don't know. I think that Bruno,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
leader, he tries to bring a little more of the sweetness of
Hmm.
the beer, So we didn't actually work it in a specific profile, but the beer is like brew.
Okay, somebody said BRY97 from Lalaman.
Yes.
Is it from okay, excellent, excellent. Yeah, I don't think I've used that before. I haven't used a bunch of a bunch of Lalaman in my time. But yeah, so um anyhow, so what I was thinking about when you were talking about making like big stouts, and earlier when you were talking about like strong IPAs, and how you can kind of get a lot of different or more flavors into them. I always think it's interesting with, especially with stout or any high alcohol beer that can kind of have some of that like residual sweetness, or
Hmm.
like more sweetness in the finished beer. I always think it's really interesting. Um, that extra sweetness helps magnify or increase the intensity of the other things that you're going to add to it. So sometimes, like if you're adding that coconut to it, it almost makes the coconut like hit harder because there's the sweetness behind it. And so one of the things that I always think about is like um dry wine. Okay. Dry wine tastes like wine. If
Hmm.
you sweeten wine, it tastes like juice. You know what I mean? And so
Okay.
there's kind of a little bit of that. When something's really dry, it doesn't necessarily taste as bright, or it doesn't like magnify the flavor as much. But sometimes when that sweetness is up a little bit higher, it can push some of those flavors out a little bit more.
Uh-huh. Which makes total sense. In the last Christmas, we made this bottle.
Hmm.
We called it Natalis.
Okay.
Um, it was like a casket breeze,
Hmm.
and we added coconut, and Brazilian kind of vanilla, and
Okay.
cacao. The beer was magnificent, magnificent. I worked
Yeah.
in it like to Friday till Monday. I just let the Hope Cycle, which we have to talk about it. I just
Yeah.
let the Hope Cycle all the weekend long, just circulation the big. Yes, that's my big
Look at
boy.
us. We got okay. So this hop cycle is what you're talking about here, and if you are watching on Spotify, or live on YouTube, or recorded on YouTube, so this is wild. I have not seen one of these before. So what we're looking at right here is it's a big vessel. It could almost look like a great big filter, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4 ports on here. So you can see what's in there, and it looks like you have a pale colored beer in there right now. Um, I know you've talked about coconut here as well. I believe we have coconut being circulated in this. Let's see here. I'm going to see if I can add. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Look at. Listen, Gabrielle, this is a very professional podcast. All right. This is the first time I've ever used this feature. So if anybody's watching for the first time and they want to know why I'm such an idiot, this is why. But okay, so here you can see the coconut in here with the beer through one of these ports. And then there's another picture, and I can pull these up at any time. Get rid of let me get rid of this one, and then I have a picture that you sent me of also the coconut inside of this.
Yes.
So this is what I'm putting up on the screen right now. And if you can see this, I mean, we're looking down into a stainless steel vessel, right? And you can see it's piled up with all this coconut right here. And then it looks like there's a spindle or a spool of stainless that goes down the center of it. And if you can get close enough, it looks like there's small like slits or small openings in it. Is that the case?
Yes, there's the screen, something like that,
Yeah.
to kind of filter the beer, so all this coconut, all the hops, nothing get inside the tank. So it's really practical. Um,
Hmm.
actually, the hop stack you mentioned it before, but it's actually five entrances for the beer.
Okay.
The beer gets circulation into it. The beer gets in and then gets out back to the tank. And
Hmm.
then there are this five entrances during the body of the cycle. There's one here, 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 and here.
Hmm.
And then the beer kind of does this movement all
Hmm.
along. So my beer doesn't actually have any contact with the whole palate because I let it soak
Mm.
a little bit before I started, because or else I would just get everything stuck in my in
Hmm.
my throat, so it will be awful. And I kind of let it circulate during the hours I work with it.
Hmm.
The manufacturer says that the best results comes within 2 or 4 hours of work. You can control the power, the pump power too.
Hmm.
Some beers that are heavier, like dense.
Hmm.
Some beers that use a heavy kind of hops too. I tend to pump it up a little bit.
Hmm. Hmm.
And like with this coconut, I had this was my base was sour, and I
Hmm.
added the passion fruit juice, and then I added the coconut. It was like running all the weekend long.
Hmm.
So I came back and then I sent all the beer without any of the coconut, without anything to the thing. So I don't have any problems with the coconut getting stocked.
Sure.
As well with the hope. So I let the hope like circulate for 2, 3, 4 hours. I don't know. It depends. And then I filtrate it. I just let the top one interesting open, and then it goes like it circulates all the cycle, but all the hopes like goes down, all the heavy things, all they just lay down. And
Hmm.
then I just send the beer clear back to the tank, so I don't have any problems with creep hopes. I don't have any issues with harsh. I,
Hmm.
I don't really
Hmm.
get anything like that, which is great. Actually, Hope Cycle is my best friend now, because I can I can really do like really brutal beers that goes up to 35, 40 kilos, and you even won't feel the brutality of the process in it,
Hmm.
because there are some triple whippers you can feel how heavy it is
Yeah,
because
yeah,
of the hopes.
yeah.
So with Hope Cycle, we don't have that. We don't have any issues with that. And that's where creativity can really, really glow.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've not worked with anything like that. I've seen some different places. I was just at a brewery here a few months ago, called Rheingeist, and they have um, they're distributing over a lot of the United States, a lot of the continental United States, and they have like large tanks that they can put like on a forklift, and they'll move it over to a tank. And it's assuming they look like at least maybe 5 to 7 barrel tanks. And so like maybe like I'm thinking I need to go up Yeah, hectoliters or more. So maybe it's like, you know, 6.5 to like 8 or 9 hectoliter size tanks. And they'll clean, sanitize, and purge that, and then they'll put hops in there, and then they'll take beer from the tank and pump it around in that to break all the pellets down, and then they'll circulate that in through the tank, right? And they'll draw beer into it and reach it, and then push it all back in eventually. So I've seen something like that, but the what you're talking about, that this dry hop recirculator, very, very cool, because it gives so much flexibility with the ingredients that you're using, because you can use a whole range of different things. That's really interesting to me. So something that I'm curious to know, when you are oh, you're
Sorry
good,
about.
you're fine. You're fine. So when you are dry hopping, um, what temperature are you dry hopping at? So are you dry hopping at fermentation temperature, or are you dry hopping at something cooler?
Well, yeah, that's very important because I have to purge all my yeast before I start
Hmm.
to dry hopping. So I just let the beer cool down to 3 Celsius
Okay.
degree,
Hmm.
and then I purge everything that I need to,
Hmm.
and then I start. So after I'm done, I put the beer to maturate at 0 degrees,
Hmm.
and then I have the beer done like in 3 days,
Hmm.
after I dry hopped it.
Sure.
So it's almost ready to cannon. And I don't think that it will work with fermentation temperature, because it will like the
Foam.
yeast and the hope, it will mix a
Sure.
lot. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
wouldn't work.
Okay. No, that makes sense. And yeah, I do like to I like to get hops out of the way to, or yeast out of the way too, before I dry hop. In general, I just want that out of there. So you are doing a crash down to 3 degrees. You're getting that yeast out of the tank, and then this is when you're utilizing this dry hop recirculator.
Yes, I like to set my temperature to 3 degrees like 1 week before, so I have to time to really purge like nicely, not all
Mhm.
at once.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I have to make the beer being a good volume after all,
Hmm.
after the yeast purge, after the whole purge, because still dry hopping, you
Sure.
won't get all the volume you put inside at once. So I like to take things like real slow, and at Dogma we kind of have this flow of work.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, that's interesting. So what when you're making New England style, hazy style IPA, what so you're going to be talking kilograms to hectoliters, I'm assuming. What's your ratio? How many kilograms to hectoliters are you typically dry hopping?
Well, it depends a lot because we have this line beers that we usually use like a little more, sorry, a little less of
Hmm.
hops. Like the most I use like 10 kilos to 21 hectoliters. You
Okay.
know,
Yep.
and but like we have two different IPAs. We have like this one that comes into this bigger can,
Hmm.
and one that comes in a smaller can.
Hmm.
Both of it, and it comes into different ingredients. It's like two. They are both IPAs,
Hmm.
but they are kind of different. One is like more caramel. You can
Mm.
see that bright color, and then
Hmm.
the other one we use oats. So
Hmm.
it's kind of different profiles. And this one we use oats. We use like 7 kilos of hops,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one we use only three.
Mm-hmm.
And it does its service. We
Sure.
like to use pellets. We use Spectrum,
Mm-hmm.
the liquid hops, right?
Mm-hmm.
We use terpenes too. Terpenes is so fun to work with. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. So it's interesting to me because I was just when I was at CBC. There's a company called Abstracts, and I'm actually going to be talking to them in a couple weeks. I'm going to have them on here, and we're going to be talking about some of the terpene and essentially like water soluble or beer soluble
Um,
liquids that you can pour in on the dry hop side essentially. I just made a beer the other day with my buddy at Cartridge Brewing, and he was going to be utilizing is it's Hyper Boost from YCH. And the funny, have you seen like the Hyper Boost package? It looks like, do you have 5 Hour Energy there? It's just like a tiny little bottle of like this high caffeine stuff. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's so crazy. Those things it's such a little bottle. So have you used, so when you said that you've used terpenes, is that like essentially the same thing, like something you can just be pouring in like on the dry hop side?
well, yeah, I like to use it to into while we transfer it to the sealer to the BBT.
Okay, okay.
But yeah, we like to make it fresh, But we
Yeah.
use like all kinds. We now are using some terpenes that are a little more concentrate in hops profiles, like the Citra, the
Mm-hmm.
Galaxy one, the Mosaic,
Yep.
So we kind of play with that a lot. We have that which the euphorics. Have you
Okay.
ever heard of it?
I'm
It's like
not.
it's this tiny.
Uh-huh.
It's all American. It all comes from USA.
Okay.
Um, so we this kind of terpene kind of plays with some fruits. We have like pineapple, we
Mm.
have peach, we have like lots of different stuff, and it gets like a really complex and very interesting profile in the beer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's very nice, very fun to work with there.
Do you feel like because sometimes people will say, well, dry hop flavor and aroma will kind of decline over time. When you use, do you feel like the terpenes, like do you feel like they stay in solution, or do you feel like they decline over time the way hops do?
I feel like they stay a whole
That's
lot,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
a
yeah,
whole
yeah.
lot,
Yep.
because like we we canned this
Hmm.
beer that like was March, April, something like that. And then
Hmm.
I opened it. I can like 2 weeks ago. It was fresh. It was still the
Yeah,
same as it was in the tank. So
yeah.
here in Brazil, it's like everything is like expensive,
Hmm.
but I think it's really worth it. It like brings something different to the beer profile.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
very very nice.
That's interesting. Yeah, I've not played a bunch with that, and I do know. So, abstracts. I always see like I see a ton of ads from them on Instagram. I don't know if you see it as well, but on Instagram. But I know they're doing some things like that. I know that they were advertising that I think 5 different beers at World Beer Cup utilized some of their I don't remember if it was the terpenes or whatnot, but
Mhm.
yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff, the stuff that's coming out there. So when we were talking about this, I was thinking, um do you feel like with those terpenes, and you were kind of talking about they have like a fruit profile, do you think that you can make a beer convincingly like a fruit beer just by using terpenes? Or would it be missing something from not having like the actual fruit in there? Am I making sense?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Um, but you see, Dogma's beer, it's actually kind of some of it. we have like this really fruity profile, you know.
Hmm. Hmm.
Miami came here to the Sister of Down concert. My whole family were here. And then we were drinking beers and stuff and getting ready. And then she was asking me like, "Did you use mango this beer?" And I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
"No, man, this is just beer. That's just
Yeah.
hoax. No, you
Yeah.
use mango. You're fooling me and stuff." So if you can get that kind of result
Yeah.
with hopes, of course you can get the
Sure.
result with forex too. You know,
Sure.
I think you just have to make it feel fresh. That's
Hmm.
kind of the secret, you know.
Hmm.
Not adding too much things on top of it, not adding it at the last moment, so you can really stay fresh and like get its maturing in the
Hmm.
can, you know.
Hmm. Do you feel as if have you ever tried a beer where maybe they use too much terpene? So like is there what happens? So if you have like a peach terpene and you were to use too much, what would happen with that flavor?
Oh, at Dogma, we had one like that. I didn't like it.
Well,
Guys
I'm
did.
not trying to.
So,
By the way, I'm not trying to get you to talk about a beer
no,
that you didn't like, but I'm
no,
just
but
trying to
that's
talk.
okay.
I'm just trying to talk about like the process and the ingredient, right? So,
No, but
like,
that's okay.
obviously, if you miss low, it won't have as much flavor. But if you miss high, how does that come across? I
Uh,
guess
no,
to
but that's
whatever brewery
okay.
happened to do it.
No, no, that's not an issue. That's okay. I mean, we can like it all, right? But but yeah, I don't know. It tastes some kind of like a medicine, you know,
Uh-huh.
like a
Medicinal.
syrup.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yep, yep. Okay, interesting.
So
Interesting.
I
Yeah,
really
well,
don't like.
to me, I feel the same way. So what I will do is what I've done sometimes with fruit beer in the past, I'll use like a puree on the fermenter side. So like I'll get like a passion fruit puree, and I'll use that on the fermenter side. And then sometimes I will take like a natural extract, a small amount, and add that in the bright tank because I
Uh,
feel like it elevates the aroma, right?
uh-huh,
So you can get some nice flavor, acidity, and maybe some texture from the fruit, from the actual fruit. But
uh-huh,
sometimes it can be hard to get all of the aromatics that you want into the finished beer. So sometimes using a little bit of a natural extract can elevate the aromatics on something,
uh-huh.
and just make it seem a little bit brighter, right? When you're talking about using terpenes, do you feel as if you get both a lot of flavor and a lot of aroma out of them, or is it one or the other?
It depends a lot. It depends because there are terpenes that can provide you both. There are terpenes that only can provide you aroma, and to me, that's perfect fine because I personally don't like much of the taste of it. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
it tastes like too artificial. I don't know
Sure.
if it's the brand. I don't know what happens, but the ones I've tried, I didn't actually like it. I prefer the aromatic ones,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that maybe if not, if like we are adding it into a hazy whip or like a
Mm-hmm.
double whip or anything,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there are any needing to put some more flavor in it, you know,
Sure.
because the beer is already complex as it is. So I just want the terpene to help me to um, that aroma to explode, you know, or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. But like in your case, you said you used it in a fruit beer, so it makes total sense. You know, I
Sure.
think it's more about taste styles. Of course, there are brewers that will like to have some flavor addition too,
Mhm.
but maybe not for me.
Sure. Well, and so and what I found too is I I think it's one thing if you're going to layer like the real thing and then something to lift the aromatics. But
Uh-huh.
when you try to go all extract, I think it cannot work out well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because and I mean especially like and you've talked about using coconut a lot. It can be challenging when you don't have a circulation device like you have to put coconut in and to circulate the beer through. It can be hard to work with just with standard fermenters, different things like that. And also sometimes you need a lot of it when you can't circulate that. So for me, I have you ever used they'll sell like a coconut puree or like a smoothie, just like you can get like. Have you ever worked with that? I have.
God
What?
forbid. God forbid. Oh my God, Adam, don't let
you're
Bruno hear that.
you're
Please.
you're. Why would he not want that, or would he want that?
Maybe he would like the idea, but uh working with puree, it's like complicated, because it's
Sure.
complicated to uh, carbonate beer. It's complicated to bring the beer outside the tank. It's
Yes.
complicated to canning the beer. So
Yes.
let's
You
just
have
not.
honestly, you have some of the coolest toys in the brewery, some of the coolest equipment. And because we jumped on a call just to kind of chat before we did the podcast before, and we were talking about, the things that you have in the brewery. And, I had to go to a brewery that was, like distributing like 8,000 barrels of beer a year, like so more of like a not like regional brewery or anything, but still it's a pretty decent sized packaging brewery. And that was when I started to get my hands on something like a dissolved oxygen meter, it's nicer tools. And you have very cool stuff there. That dry hop recirculator is crazy. I think that's really great. And just looking at your brewery, there's some very cool toys that you have to play with there.
Yes, I do. I'm very fortunate to work where I am now because I understand how hard life can be without those tools.
Oh, sure.
Um, because I mean, Dogma was very, very little. We are making 10 years this year, so it
Mm.
will be a huge party. It will be
Yeah,
really nice.
congratulations.
Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
really proud to make part of this history.
Hmm.
So they're like started small and then they were growing and growing and growing. Now we have all this equipment, but just like I told you in the beginning, I think it's the management,
Hmm.
because first you focus doing like the basics, just brew,
Hmm.
no, do the basics, it will work. It's not rocket science, it's way more important, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So um so yeah, we focus a lot in the quality. We are
Hmm.
very detailists about it. So whenever I am about to add some hops in the hope cycle, I have to check how much of oxygen I still have left in it. So I have
Hmm.
to wash it with carbon dioxide, right?
Hmm.
Dioxide of
Hmm.
carbon. And then I will add the hopes I can bring the beer in, because or else I have to wash it a little bit more. I have to
Hmm.
check how much of oxygen I have already incorporated inside the beer. So all of these are processed just to make sure that the beer will be the same to everyone that buys with us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Dogma actually um, distribute it to the whole country. It's very interesting, but there are these issues that we have to try to control the most. We don't get to have to transport the beer cold all the time. It will
Hmm.
be like
Yeah.
a dream to have
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we don't. So we have to do something about it. Like we have
Yeah.
to control it as much as we can. So
Hmm. Yeah. No, you're absolutely spot on. I remember the first time. It was my first brewing job, and at first we were, just selling beer in the pub. And then I remember the first time we had to package up a bunch of beer. And at that point, we were doing bottles. So that's how long I've been brewing professionally. I was still putting beer in bottles. But I remember we had, several skids of kegs and bottles. And a distributor came and took it away. And you knew that it was going to be sitting warm in their warehouse, and then it would go out to store shelves or wherever, and you're losing, like you're sending your baby out there, right? And you
Yeah.
you can't take care of it anymore. You can't keep it
Yes.
cold where it wants to be, right? That's a very difficult thing. That's a difficult hump to get over, and it's nice to know that you have those tools in place when you are sending that beer out there, that you have a good canning line, that you have good, dissolved oxygen protocol and equipment to test. That's all very important stuff.
Yes, of course. So we try to focus on the quality of it most of we can, because I mean, of course, Dogma here in Brazil is a very big brand. It's a
Yeah,
big deal.
yeah.
But we try to like real maintain the quality of the name. Like real
Hmm.
present you a beer that you may like it that you
Hmm.
know. So
Hmm. Yeah, no, that's great. So I have a couple of questions from the chat too. The first one that I'll ask you is from Zur, and it said, "Ask her about Citra level lover dry hopping." Does this Does that make sense to you?
yeah,
Is Citra
so
lover a beer that you have?
yes, we
Uh-huh.
have this line called Hope Lover,
Okay.
which we brew beers in single hop style. So
Hmm.
we have Strata Lover, we have
Yeah.
Mosaic Lover, we have Citra Lover. So the Citra dry hopping is Citra,
Yeah. Yeah.
Citra hopping, and we use like I don't know 20, 20 kilos of it. So
Hmm.
it's a lot, and it's a
Sure.
very dense beer.
Hmm.
It's old.
What's the alcohol level on the beer?
It's like 8
8.
or,
Okay, yeah, that's
or
plenty
9.
strong. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's very strong. It's very strong. It's one of my favorites for sure.
Uh-huh.
So we use this really heavy cargo of hops,
Hmm.
of citrus, and it's just the same
Yeah,
process with the hope cycle and stuff.
for sure.
Basically, did I answer it
Yeah,
correctly?
no, you're great. You actually mentioned strata when we were starting when we were starting that to answer that question. Do you like strata as a hop?
Yes, I do, but I think it's um. I don't know if you use too much. To me, it brings a little bit of that medicine
Okay.
flavor we were talking
Hmm.
later. So I don't know why it's like a
Do you like
hate love.
Okay, so do you like it like blended with other hops?
Yes, yes, not
Okay,
just
yeah.
a single hop. You got it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We did a West Coast beer at the last place that I was at, and um we were looking for something like really they wanted to grow some yeast and they wanted something a little bit different to put into distro, and so we did like what I would consider to be like more of like a modern like West Coast approach where we're going really dry, and so very pale beer, so
Uh-huh.
almost like straw in color, and we utilized some dextrose because we wanted it to get very, very dry. I think maybe it went down to like maybe 1.5 Plato or 1006.
Wow.
So it went dry, but it was crisp. It was firmly bitter. And we were using Strata. And I think we ended up pairing it with Crush. Have you used Crush before?
No, I didn't.
From YCH. So Crush is nice because it can kind of it has some fruitiness to it. But pairing it up with strata, or at least the strata that the crop that we were using,
Uh-huh.
strata has some nice fruit to it as well, but it still has like some nice, like West Coast, like there's almost a little bit like kind of Simcoe kind of thing to it as well.
Mhm.
Sometimes you can get like a little dank out of it. So it was nice to layer up like that. I don't know how the beer would be 100% strata, but yeah, I do like strata for blending up
Yeah.
in something like that. Okay. Cerveza Misionero says, do you use biofine in your hazy beers? And if you do, how do you introduce it into the fermenter? Do you use biofine or something like it?
Biofine.
Do you know? So the brand, it might be a brand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Might be because here we have like the same products, but as different brands, they
Uh-huh.
put
Yep.
it in different names. So
Sure.
I tend to use like from oh, and now I forgot. But we use a different kind, so
Sure.
maybe
So
we are
it's
not.
like a liquid though. It's like a liquid that you add to the beer.
Uh-huh.
And then do you circulate it or anything like that, or bubble it up in the tank
No. I
to
mean,
mix it?
the most of these chemicals are added in the hard part of the process.
Okay.
So
Okay.
me and the sealer, I don't get to use that a lot. We
Sure.
use silica, the SC1,
Okay.
SC1 here
Okay.
to clear a little bit more, the beer. So.
Sure.
But as it comes to me, I only use that, so
Okay. Okay. Cool. Do you have a filter at all in the brewery?
no.
No. Okay. Good for you.
Yeah.
Filtering's a pain in the ass. Filtering
Yes,
is a
yeah.
pain. Good for you. Um, Let me see. I'm just looking at the chat here. Gabriel says he's waiting for his green beer, by the way, just so you know. What else? I'm assuming there's a backstory there. But yeah. What else? Let me see. Um, so let me ask just a couple of wrap up questions. If excuse me. Um, Looking back, if you were able to have a beer with yourself as a younger person and were able to give yourself some advice, whether you're in college, and if you can give that younger version of yourself some career advice, what would that advice be?
Um, I think I'd just say keep going
Mm,
because there are so many things that try to stop us before getting where I got because I'm a woman, because I can carry heavy bags of barley, which is all bullshit in the end of the day because I work as hard as any man as I met.
sure.
It is industry, at least here in Brazil, is very manly.
Hmm.
We don't have much girls in it, and I think that each girl that get into the beer world that actually tries to brew professionally, it's a win. It's a win for all women in every type of profession, because
Sure.
it's woman actually leading stuff, actually taking part of stuff. It's not just um, being afraid to get into to follow their dreams and stuff. So
Sure.
of course, yeah, that will be it. Keep going.
That makes sense. So, this is something that we didn't talk about before. So, because you're saying, how it's mostly men in the industry. Were friends and family surprised that you wanted to go in this direction for a career?
I don't know because been always weird, you know. I've always liked weird things. So my mom just she doesn't surprise anything surprise her anymore. There was this time I just posted like some pictures of me with corpse paint and everything, like with a Russian black metal song playing in the background. And then I asked her, Mom, what do you think whenever you open my Instagram and there I am like wearing all this heavy makeup and everything? She was like, man, I'm used to it, so it doesn't
Yeah.
impress me anymore. I don't impress my mom anymore. I have to make something up, you know. I'm starting to get lighter. I don't know. I
I
don't know.
like it. I like
They already know that I like this different weird delete
it.
things,
Sure.
so they gave me all the support I need. They
That's
give
beautiful.
me all the support I need. They really like my beer, and it's real
That's
nice.
beautiful. It is nice, and we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but there is something when you talked about, they like your beer. There is something I personally, of all the science, of all, the culinary aspects, combining flavors. I think the most special thing that we do is being able to share something that we've made with somebody else, and also to be able to receive it, right? So for me personally, so I can't I have a really bad like gluten allergy that I've developed,
Mm.
and so I haven't drank beer in like 2 years. Um, so yeah, it's like I don't know. It's like it's the worst. It sucks. I mean, there's worse things, but you know
Right.
what I mean. So, but like the so one of the things that's difficult is I have really good friends that are brewers, and like when we get together, what we used to love to do was I would have a buddy and he would bring like every beer that he has, and we would sit him down and we would pour like 2 ounces of it, and we would smell, discuss it, talk about the recipe, like everything, because I want to know as much as I can about what he's doing. He wants as much feedback as I can give, and we just want to get better at what we're doing, right? But that but having somebody like share something with you and receive it, that's something that's very difficult. So when you talked about that your family likes the beer you made, that struck a chord with me, because it's a special thing. It's a special thing to be able to share things that we make with other people. So I think that's beautiful, and I'm
Thank you
excited for
so
you.
much.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, is there anything exciting that Dogma has coming up that you want to share with folks? I know that you mentioned the 10-year anniversary is coming right up.
Yes, yes. It will be 19th July.
Hmm.
So it's already coming up. We still have some tickets available. You can check it on the website. It will be like 30 free like beers, different styles of beers. We
Hmm.
have some uh, friends invited to like other breweries here from São
Mm.
Paulo. They're from my city in Rio de Janeiro. There are some breweries coming too. Trilha will be with us, which is a super hyped brewery here in São Paulo,
Hmm.
and I think it would be really really nice. It's like I said, like um, we get to drink between ourselves, between the people who make it, who brew it, who
Hmm.
makes it, who makes everything happens, and then we get to watch all those people to enjoy everything we do with so much love, you know. So
Hmm.
it's like it's this beautiful party we where we can share this mutual feeling, this mutual passion for beer, you know. So
Hmm.
it will be really nice. So please come, save your save your
Absolutely.
liver.
Absolutely. Well, listen, this was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it too. Yeah, it was a great conversation. I appreciate you making time being on here. Everybody, make sure to give a follow to Dogma on Instagram. If do you want to tell people your Instagram handle, or do you not want to? If people want to see what you have going on, but we could have talked about that beforehand. Just want me to skip it?
No, no, no. It's okay. But it's a German
Mhm.
nickname, so it may be a little hard to find. So, but you can search by my name, Gabrielle Lannes Maurey. No
That's right.
mistakes.
Oh, and you've been tagged and we've been tagged in
Yes,
in my
yes.
Instagram stuff. So, well, fantastic. Gabrielle, this was a lot of fun. Please hold on until we get off the stream just so I can thank you again for being on.
All
Again,
right.
it was a lot of fun. Everybody out there, next week, I will be chatting with Ken Schramm, author of the defining book in mead, The Complete Mead Maker, and owner of Schramm's Mead, making some absolutely incredible honey wine out there. And he does a lot of work with fruit as well. So stay tuned for that. That might be Monday. I need to get my head on my shoulders here and figure out what's going on. But that'll be coming up. And as always, make sure to give my wonderful sponsors at Blickman and Brewed Fiscally some love. If you have any needs on that side, please reach out to them. Anyways, until next time, I will, I don't know. I'll see you later. Thanks for joining us. Bye.